All right. Good morning, everyone. I think Mark is having a little bit of technical difficulty, so we're going to just go ahead and start. Welcome to Mount Juliet Monday. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Tyler, I guess we'll start with how the parade went.
Yeah, parade went really good. I like the route this year from the Little League down to Division Street. It seemed to help traffic better. So when folks, needed to get around the parade, they could easily do so. So it went really good. I was surprised on the amount of people that were out, and I was surprised on the amount of floats that were in there. It was a really, really good parade considering all that we're going through.
Yeah, I hated I was out of town. I had to miss it.
Sure.
So.
But it was pretty good. It just flowed well, and Wilson County TV, our local county TV station, was broadcasting live. So if you didn't make it, just go to their website or Facebook, and you can see it broadcasted live.
Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that. So awesome. What else do we have going on?
Well, everyone likes. I got 5 different topics here. The first was a parade, but Milo building new officers that we have. And the strategic plan that we recently released. But on an update on Milo, he continues to do pretty well. He's in the phase of his rehabilitation where he's being introduced to the athletic type functions that he does, such as tracking and apprehension. So tracking, that would be where someone is lost or there's a suspect in the woods. Milo will, trail and run through the woods going after this suspect or missing person. And then the apprehension part is where he actually will bite and grab onto a suspect. And then, the part about that is they actually pull the suspect out. So say a suspect would be hiding under a shed, Milo would go under that shed and pull him out. So that takes a lot of strength for a dog to be able to pull a human, out from under something or from a closet or wherever a suspect may be. So we want to be sure that he is fully healed up before he actually, uses all this strength to do that. So we've introduced him to the training where he will do some of these functions, and then we're going to monitor his health at that point to ensure that he's not, no longer limping or no longer favoring a leg. And when that happens, he'll go through and just do some scans at the veterinarian to check to make sure everything's connected properly, and then he'll come back to full duty. So we're still hopeful. I would say I'm more hopeful today that he will be full duty than I was a couple months ago when we just thought he would be a narcotics detection dog, which requires no athletic abilities, but all is good there. And we're excited to hopefully get him back to that. We've had recent incidents where we could have easily used Milo on some suspect searches recently, and we would have loved to have him. And when we don't have Milo as a resource, we reach out to other agencies. So we would reach out to the Nashville Airport, Lebanon Police, or Wilson County Sheriff, or even sometimes Metro Nashville if it meets criteria. But sometimes their dogs are not available as well. So Milo is a great resource. We hope to eventually expand our canine program to about 3 canines in about 5 to 7 years. So all is good. The update on the building front, that's going well. As you know, we are looking to expand our police headquarters. Really, number one goal is to secure it from any type of disaster threat should we have one like a tornado. Right now we're in just a metal prefabricated type building. If a tornado would have hit us, this building would be leveled. We have, of course, staff here 24/7 that can't leave, that keep emergency operations going. So we really need to get them in a facility quickly that will protect them, but also expand us out for growth for about 15 years. So part of that, we did the strategic plan to compare our growth, compare our numbers, see where we would be in about 15 years. And that's where we jumped on this plan and working with the architects. The architect workshop, they're out of the Nashville area. They received the bid for the designing of this building, and they are well underway in that. The contract has been signed. They've done, currently reviews of our current building, looking at the structural integrity, the previous building documents. They're about to conduct a site survey. And of course, they've sent out questionnaires, and they will be interviewing our staff this week just to get an understanding of how we operate here at the police department, so they can truly, build this expansion, build this addition to truly match what our work process and operations are. So the workflow just works really, really well. So we're excited for that. And it's another project that's going to take some time of mine. No big deal, but I'm just excited to see its fruition, and definitely thankful of our elected officials. They supported a $6 million cap for this project, which includes design and building fees. We believe that's totally adequate enough to get done what we need to get done. And we're just super thankful of the elected officials who have supported that. And of course, there are some new ones on the board now, and they have expressed their support for the project as well. And they are glad to see it was funded. And we're hopeful to start building, hopefully in June or July. But the design process just takes some time, and then you have some time with doing the proper bids and whatnot for the builder who will come out and eventually build the building. But looking forward to hopefully June or July to break ground and get this headquarters expansion up and going. And I see Mark has joined us. That's a good thing, Mark, after what you've been through.
Yeah, thank you. Made it out.
We're good.
Don't go back to those days again, but
Yeah.
thank you, Tracy. I see Tracy on here. Probably wouldn't have happened without her. Could have turned out different. She pulled a ace out of her sleeve and was a huge help to me. So I owe you a debt of gratitude I'll never be able to repay.
So, that's what we're here for, Mark.
Hey, thank you so much. I do have a quick question. I apologize, bouncing back and forth from offices. If you've already covered this, I understand there's going to be no traffic disruption as they begin construction on the new lane. I'm sure to be traffic lane shifts and things like that. You'd already be in the loop. Is that consistent with what you're hearing as well?
Yeah, so you broke out a little bit, but I know what you're asking about. You're asking about the overpass, widening of Mount Juliet Road.
Yes, sir.
Is limited traffic impacts, which we hope that is the case, because they are building in addition to the bridge, basically to its west. So the work you see now on the interstate where some construction crews are changing lanes, they're basically shifting all the lanes so they can do the work on the interstate to erect I don't know the correct term, but whatever bridge and overpass structure that will be extended to the west of the current structure. And then they will get that up and going, and then it all just will merge together and look like one big overpass. So we're told the lane blockages are going to be limited. I haven't seen a traffic plan for it yet to be totally sure of that, but from what we've been told, it'll be very, very limited traffic. And of course, just like our police officers are dedicated, if we have to get out there and direct traffic to ensure traffic flow, we're going to get out there and do what we can to ensure it goes well. And I think in the end, it'll definitely be a wonderful addition to the city, a wonderful thing that'll really help traffic flow. Because as you know, definitely going northbound, there is always that bottleneck where that weird lane shift happens with the eastbound exit ramp of I-40, and there's cars always merging. No one knows what lane they need to be in. So I think when we can have a dedicated sidewalk, dedicated bike lanes, 2 dedicated north and south travel lanes, and then those dedicated turn lanes, I think it'll be a great addition to the city, and just looking forward to it. I think our next focus needs to probably be closer to Central Pike and getting South Mount Juliet Road widened to at least Stewart's Ferry, but that's just a dream of mine. We have a lot of crashes related to that backup, related to rear end crashes. So when the traffic backs up on South Mount Juliet Road at Central Pike, and it backs up over that hill. So sometimes people just aren't paying attention, or there's limited sight distance with the hill. There is a lot of rear end crashes between Central Pike on Mount Juliet Road up to about the Zaxby's. Always rear end crashes. And when they occur, it's a plow. You'll see 3 or 4 or 5 cars all involved in this crash. And sometimes there are serious injuries related to it, depending how fast that person's going. But that's why we continue to advocate. Folks just need to pay attention when they drive. And, people, I guess, like on the interstate or on a roadway, they get so used to the roadway just being clear and open. But when there's a hazard, when there is traffic stopping quickly, that's where they don't have reaction time because they have a phone up, or they're on the phone, or wherever it may be. They're distracted, and a crash occurs.
What are you seeing at Providence, the planning, the grab and goes, shoplifting compared to years before?
Sure, it's a little bit lower this year. Of course, we don't know the loss of the stores until it's a major problem where they want to report something. But our involvement, our calls are lower. When we have had calls of active theft, we've been quick to get on it because the officers are in the area and quick to make apprehensions. I just reflect on last week at the Dollar General at Valley Center. There were two ladies inside that were shoplifting. They were confronted. They were very disorderly to the staff, and they ran out of the store as staff is giving us a call, and they flee in a little red car with no license plate on it. So our officers then immediately are notified. They're looking for this car. They spot it, and they pull it over, stop it, recover the stolen merchandise, and make an arrest in that incident. So yeah, people do commit theft and get out of there, but that's very few when that happens. I would say the majority of the time, overwhelming majority of the time, they're not successful. Once they're spotted by the staff at the stores, and then we're notified, we get on it very, very quickly. And it's interesting because shoplifting leads to a lot of other crimes. They're just not there to steal. They likely have illegal drugs on them, illegal weapons. They're likely wanted from other jurisdictions. And if it's interesting, shoplifting is just a component of their criminal activity, but their criminal activity is probably motivated by drug use or some other type of crimes.
Anybody have anything else? Sure appreciate the weekly the monthly updates. Tyler, anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to hit on a little bit of our new officers and strategic plan that we've created. Won't take too much time, but you may have noticed we've hired a couple of new officers. Some is related to one officer taking medical leave and no longer working at the police department, but others related to just new bodies that we were awarded this year by the commission. But it's interesting to see that the good staff members that are applying for us and that we're hiring in recruitment for us, rather, our pay is relatively low to the region compared to other agencies, but our recruitment, they just want to work for a city that is so supported by their community, and they want to work for a department that, from their words, has their stuff together, great leadership team, great chief of police that's leading the community. So that's what they're coming for. And they're leaving agencies like San Francisco Police, Mackenzie Favors, who listening to her and talking to her, the climate of policing in San Francisco compared to our community is totally different. She was able to ride in the parade Saturday with her husband, who also transitioned here from San Francisco. He is working at Brentwood Police. They didn't want to work at the same agency. We both gave them an offer, but they decided, due to our nepotism policy and supervision, that it wouldn't be great for their career ladder to work for the same agency. So we got Mackenzie, and Brentwood got Nicholas, but they were able to ride in the parade Saturday. And just after the parade, they were just amazed because they don't get that type of support in other areas, definitely in San Francisco. And they were surprised the parade was geared toward hometown heroes. Our retired police officer, Zach Atwood, was the grand marshal, and everyone was just cheering on the police. And they were all smiles, totally amazed by that support. But we've also hired two officers from Metro Nashville Police who do live in the city. One lives in Woodland Place, and the other lives down on the south end of town towards Providence. But you have Felix Abrahamian and Fabian Lukai. Now, they're both immigrants from Romania. They moved to the United States. Their families separately moved to the United States due to the unrest in Romania when they were younger in high school. Then they met each other at military school in the New England area, and they both decided to apply for Metro Nashville Police, and they both got a job at Metro Nashville Police. So when they interviewed for us, when we had openings, I was having to ask them, is this a package deal where we have to hire one or the other? But just how scoring worked out, we were able to hire Felix first, and Fabian was on the list at the bottom, but then eventually Fabian got hired. So now they work here together, and Felix just wrapped up his field training period, and Fabian is about to wrap up his field training period next week. But we also just gave an offer, and someone's going through background from the Illinois area. So there's a lot of folks with great experience, great education, applying for our agency, coming from elsewhere. And it's just nice to have that, where we're not really having to recruit too much. I think we probably recruit daily with our community and our daily activities, but they see it, they recognize it, and they want to work for us, and that's nice to see. And on the topic of hiring with our strategic plan, by 2035, the city's expected to have close to 60,000 residents here. So we're hoping to hire 4 officers per year to get us to about 120 police officers by 2035, just to kind of keep up with our rate. But it's interesting, our officer rate per 1,000 residents in 2014 was 1.53. That means we have 1.53 police officers for every 1,000 people in the city residents. In 2019, we had 1.66. So our numbers are going up there, where we're putting more officers on the street compared to our population ratio. But we hope by 2030, when we're expecting about 50,000 residents, we're hoping our ratio is near 2 to give us more flexibility with that, and to just combat the growth and just deal with whatever else brings. Because not only do we have more residents and population, but we have more business growth. We have a lot of Amazon is an example of that, and more people come into our community to shop, and hopefully getting some more white collar jobs around the I-40 area with the new Providence Central development. So it would be nice to have more officers that are a little bit higher than your ratio to be able to deal with calls per service. But the average around the state is about 2.10 officers per thousand. So we are under the average, pretty good under the average. But the good thing is we have a safe city, and we're able to sustain that and obviously divert tax money to other programs than just totally law enforcement. And with our growth plan, we've looked at it from now to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 7 to 10 years, and then 10 years out, which includes the hiring of 4 police officers per year. We have some dispatchers in that timeline as well, along with some administrative staff, and then a restructuring of the shift minimums, where we have minimum shift levels where we don't let it go below a certain number any day during patrol. And we hope to get our officers to 10-hour shifts eventually, but 10-hour shifts is going to take a little bit more officers to get to that. But 10-hour shifts will be a great thing for our police officers, because that gives 2 hours extra every day for overlap, for training, for physical fitness, should they want to participate in that, but also engaged in finishing up their reports, where they're not sitting there doing reports all day out there trying to patrol. They can patrol their 8 hours, and the last 2 hours can be wrapping up their shift when the other shift takes over the calls for service.
I think everybody on here can appreciate having some sort of a plan, a strategic plan, and it's encouraging as a citizen here in town that there is a plan in place, and you kind of know what you're going to have. Over many years, watching budget time come around, and oftentimes elected officials seemingly unaware that adding a new police officer was even going to be proposed. There's been struggles. If you allow your elected officials to just know ahead of time that if we hit this, milestone with population or whatever, we're going to add, and if you can educate them, I see a lot more harmony come budget time if you're actually working a plan. And I think as an elected official, if I were one, I would appreciate it. I would be much more supportive, I guess, of growing with the logic that you've presented today. So hats off for coming up with a plan, not only for that, but I'm sure you change out your gear, you have vehicles, you have fuel costs, all of that kind of stuff. And so hats off for the administration over at the PD.
Sure. Thank you.
Anybody got anything else? Got anything going on, Tyler, with the police department and the kids yet for Christmas, or have those activities passed?
Well, we teased one thing last night, but we plan to have Santa ride around in an antique fire truck. We'll escort him through the city. We're just working on a date. The tentative plan was this Saturday, but Saturday weather looks bad. Santa doesn't want to get wet. So we are going to find a day where the weather is nice, where he doesn't freeze on the fire truck. he doesn't get wet. So I would stay tuned. Once we have that date, we'll continue to advertise it. But our plan is with the Easter Bunny that rode around town, it was a quick decision and an overnight thing. Hey, let's run the Easter Bunny around tomorrow. So we didn't have a true route. So it took a lot of time. It took about 9 hours to go through the city. So we're going to try to condense that to about 4 or 5 hours with a clearly defined route. So we're not going to hit every street, but we'll hit a clearly pre-advertised defined route. So if folks want to see Santa drive by and wave at them, they can go to their roadway in their neighborhood and, wave as Santa drives by. So that's the plan. Luckily, Santa has time on his hands to come down here and wave at the kids in the fire truck with his little police escort through town.
I saw the teaser on social media to pay attention for additional details. So, I have to think with the kids stuck at home, it's, instead of at school with their friends and stuff, much more than they would have expected. I'm sure that many will be appreciated. So there'll be people Facebook Live and hey, next neighborhood's what? So let us know when that's going to be. We'll be glad to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about COVID, there are so many different opinions related to it, from one spectrum to the other spectrum. And, there are folks at home who are taking the precautions as best as they want to take them, right? And they're not getting out. They didn't come to the parade. They didn't get to see Santa. So we hope to be able to bring Santa around to at least them where they can view him and their kids can get some joy out of it safely, distant, and in their family bubble and see him. So that's really the goal. It was a hit when we brought the Easter Bunny around. So we're just glad Santa is willing to do it as well.
He's a jolly old soul. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I would just like to say, Captain Chandler, thank you for the updates. And Mark, thank you for the forum that you put this together for all of us to learn more about what's going on. We appreciate the Mount Juliet Police Department and all that you do for our community. As Wilson County's only hospital, we would love to get to know more of your staff. It sounds like you have additional officers coming on board. And I know that you don't have to visit our hospital very much, but we'd love for officers to visit. We could give a tour, especially, if they visit on duty or off duty, just to make sure everybody feels comfortable and knows what to do. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
They brought me back from where. They can do that. They can cure anything. So,
Well,
hey, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. I'll let Marla close out her program and make any final thoughts she has. Oh, I think she's on the other line. Okay, got it.
he's multitasking, I think.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else? Love seeing y'all. These are recorded. See it on the website. Please share it with folks. Tyler, to you and your team, and be safe and stay well. And I hope that you and the entire force really do know how much you guys are appreciated. It was special. I married into the family, but Zach Atwood is my cousin now. He was Tanya's cousin, so that makes him my cousin. And he looked like he was having the time of his life on Saturday.
I think he did. And it was just great that the community supported that. And it was great that our parade committee picked him to be the Grand Marshal. It was an awesome time.
Good choice. Tell the Parks and Rec Department, I know they had significant role in this too. Yeah, I saw people complimenting on social media your Explorer program. And hats off to the car wash, because I think they washed 72 police cars from what I could tell. That would have been a relatively good time to do something bad in Mount Juliet, because the cops were all stuck in traffic on Mount Juliet Road. There were a lot of them too. So
yeah. The good thing is we give that illusion that we have a lot of police officers out there, but now we had contingencies and there were officers out still.
All right. You know how much we appreciate you guys. Everybody, if I don't see or talk to you before, and I hope I do, we got a couple of more weekly programs coming up. But if our paths don't cross, I hope you have a safe and blessed and Merry Christmas.
Awesome. Thank you all. Take care.